we continue to get you more and more conversations from this conference, which is looking at the possibility of Mumbai as a mega city, learning from the EU experience. And we have with us now the chairman of the Mumbai Port Trust, Mr. Rajeev Gupta. Sir, it's great to have you here and to be able to talk to you. Now, I know that for the longest time, the first thing that one thinks of when you think of Mumbai Port Trust is, okay, the owners of one of the largest tracts and largest parcels of land. But what is your experience with Mumbai as a city and the civic issues that it really is confronted with today?
I stepped into this job in November or December 2011. So it's just been short of 2 years since I've been here. But of course, I have a much older association in Bombay. I first came to Bombay in '63 as a child, and then I came as a young student in '71 along with my father. And then my father moved to Bombay in '76. Bombay Central first, and then Badwar Park, because he was part of the railway system. In fact, I joined railways in '76 as an apprentice, and my first choice of railway was Western, because they had their headquarters in Bombay, and I joined as an officer in 1980. Ever since then, it has always been Bombay and Bombay and Bombay, not in terms of working and living here, but coming to the city time and again. And of course, since my father and then me later, we all were presidents of Badwar Park. For me, Bombay ended somewhere probably Chowpatty was probably one boundary, and the other boundary was Chiragdeen. You would not really venture beyond a little beer parlor somewhere in that area. There was Rustam's. And then you were, yes, I would enjoy the Colaba Causeway, you know, with all its rush and color and cars and, you know, bazaar. And of course, Leopold Cafe used to be a famous and a very favorite haunt. We have spent quite a few evenings, you know, enjoying with friends and all the, you know, the kind of crowd that you saw there. And of course, visit to the gateway was always a pleasure. I had heard of Malabar Hill. I never knew anybody. I never knew anybody there, and I had never heard of Kambala Hill. And it was really quite a, shall we say, a surprise when I landed up in this huge monster of a house on Carmichael's Road when I joined here. Although I was part of the shipping ministry since 2007, I never visited the port before I came as chairman. I did see the guest house once in a while, because I used to, as a day passenger coming from Delhi and back, you needed a bit of rest sometimes because the road kills you. By the time you're taken a early morning flight to attend a board meeting in Bombay, and you know, transited through Delhi airport and then taken a car from the airport to the city. And if you have 11 o'clock meeting, and if you have landed up at say about 9:30 or 10, you're dead actually by the time you reach Narvan Point.
So I'm getting the sense that obviously with the grace of God and the nature of your work, you've actually been really saved from the true monstrosity that Bombay can be or Mumbai can be in terms of daily living, travel and commute.
Yes, I would say so, because I have spent a very, I would say, a good part of my stay in Bombay in Badwar Park, because my father was a resident till about 89, from 76.
Sure.
So those 13, 14 years I was a continuous visitor to Badwar Park. I did a 2-year stint from 86 to 88 in Bombay. I was posted at Bombay Central. And then I went back to the districts, you know, in the railways, on Western Railway. But since headquarters was here, I used to keep coming.
Right, right. So let me say to you in a humble manner what the average citizen of Mumbai, perhaps people in the press or perception in the press seems to be that, you know, the Port Trust has a huge parcel of land. Yes, sure, it's for their own utilization, but perhaps can some of it be freed up? So perhaps some kind of housing can be made, perhaps the eastern seafront of the city can be opened up. What do you say to these often repeated arguments that would be thrown at you?
I heard of these things when I was part of the ministry. I would wonder as to what the problem was, why it was not being done, and it so happened that in 2010 my wife fell seriously sick and she was treated at the Tata Memorial. So that was the time I got to actually again spend almost a month between quick visits to the ministry to clear up the paperwork, that I actually got to see and stay in the city for an extended period of time after a long gap. And that's the time when I thought maybe it may be quite practical to come down to Bombay, because my wife's treatment can continue. And I was frankly fascinated by being part of the Port Trust, because I heard so many things, so many stories, and the real motivation was to delve into the history of the port and try and make some sense of the whole mess, that the port seemed to be in.
Sure.
Although I knew I was coming into a very legacy kind of port, with all its associated problems, and especially when a fine and a great institution falls into bad days, it is the top management life that becomes most difficult. So nobody understands the problem. They only see your big house and your big office and your building, and they think you're a big man, but actually you are a troubled soul actually.
So what is it that you've tried doing under your tenure, and what is it that you still have in mind? As your presentation was saying, it spoke about some wonderful things like, perhaps the tourist destinations, developing zones,
yeah, some of the
world-class harbour, which even the citizens can
some of the
enjoy.
Things that I mentioned in my presentation are works in progress. Some of them are a wish list, and some of them are yet at a very, very conceptual and nebulous state.
So which are the most realistic sort of aspirational issues there that perhaps we could see some, tangible difference
I
on
would
ground?
say that if you, obviously as a Mumbaiker, you're not really interested in the port per se. You're only interested in the land and the development and whatever.
Even
though,
if it means enjoying a lovely stroll along the harbour.
As I told you, my primary responsibility as the port chairman is for the port and towards the employees.
Absolutely.
So, but still, having now at least created a wish list of port projects that are likely to see the port through in terms of revenue, in terms of its commitments towards the employees and the other stakeholders, we have already tendered out for a marina in the Eastern Harbour, and the pre-bid was encouraging, though given the difficult nature of the working environment today, because of what you read in the papers, it's not easy to actually concretize a project, to see it through, to see a closure, because one has to continuously look at oversight issues, governance issues, because even if you are very keen on doing something and you feel for it, you're convinced internally, you still have to be worried about what somebody will say, what somebody will think, or what will be made out of the record that you will leave behind.
But you're saying you have received some interested bids, despite the environment being
challenging. It's not the bids
challenging.
that is, it's the pre-bid meeting. Okay. We did get a fair amount of interest from people. They had a lot of suggestions. So we decided to factor in some of the suggestions which we thought were worthwhile, and then come out with a revised bid document, and then again hold another meeting, so that because we are interested in doing it, and we are interested in trying to see and attract as much of competition and as much of interest as possible, so that we get the best possible marina. Yes, of course, there is a underlying motive also. We are also trying to make money out of the marina.
Tourism revenue? Or
No. We own the land and the water, madam.
Yes.
So, obviously, we are going to charge for it. It won't come free. There are no free lunches in this port.
That's true. But at least people will have a chance to enjoy.
Yeah, provided they are ready to pay for it, yes. Yeah, if they are ready to pay for it, yes.
And I know these
nothing comes free.
I totally understand that. Finally, so I know that these are long gestation projects. So
No. A marina will not take time once it sees closure.
Okay. And we are now typically talking about how many years?
Okay, let's try and see. Maybe we can, since it's on a land lease model, it's not a concession agreement. we are not looking at a revenue share, we are looking at essentially leasing out the land side and the water side. So I would suppose even if we come out with the fresh set of requirements for qualification and for the bidding parameters, let's say that now that you have to give a little time for people to respond to the revised conditions. Now it's the middle of November, so maybe end December, early January we should get the bids in. It will take a little while to process, get board approvals, government approvals. The land policy is still not in place. So I would suppose that we could look at February and March if we are lucky.
For the project to get off the ground?
No, to award the project.
To award the project.
And then it will probably take, see, what we have tried to do is make it easy for the bidders, or rather the one who gets the bid is to start small and then grow big, so that he does not have to bring in too much of capital and lock in capital and then, then regret later. What we are definitely looking at is where we are not likely to compromise is on the quality and on the past experience credentials, because we would like to get the best. And as of now, there is no successful marina in this country. So one of the parameters would probably be is that one of the partners in a consortium, so we would definitely like to encourage local entrepreneurship, is that he must have experience of a working marina, successful marina somewhere. Could be Dubai, could be Hong Kong, could be Singapore, could be Malta, could be anywhere.
Well, as a Mumbaiker, all I can say is it's a beautiful dream to walk down a beautiful Mumbai marina.
And what we are planning is not only a marina, we will also give you a waterfront.
Okay.
It will not be just access to the water. We are also planning a promenade.
Developing a waterfront.
No, it's there. You just have to carve it out.
Sounds absolutely fantastic, sir. We hope that this really gets off the ground. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you.